Miss Appleton.
My aunt will be down presently, Mr. Nuttall. In the meantime, you'll have to put up with me.
Thank you, and I'm sorry.
That was quite a scare. Some tea will do you good.
Most kind. The doctors have advised me against any sort of physical activity as part of my nerve cure, and I simply did not know how far I had to walk. London can drive anyone crazy, and the stress lately has been unbearable.
Do you know many people round here?
Oddly so. My sister stayed here at the rectory 3 years ago, and she sent me letters of introduction to people, including your aunt, Miss Appleton.
Then you know practically nothing about my aunt.
Only her name and address.
Her tragedy happened 3 years ago.
Her tragedy?
That would be since your sister's time. You may wonder why we keep that window open on an October afternoon.
What has that window got to do with the tragedy?
Out through that window, 3 years ago to a day, her husband and young brother.
Righto, off we go. Ready for action. And money by the look of it. Been to those shooting grounds countless times, and never broke a bone, even when frosty. Cheer up.
It had been a dreadful wet summer. Places that were safe suddenly gave way to hunters and hikers going about. And in crossing the moor to their favorite shooting ground, they were all engulfed in a treacherous bog. Their bodies were never recovered. That was the dreadful part. Poor aunt always thinks they will come back again along with the spaniel and walk in through that window as they always used to do. Do you know, sometimes on still, quiet evenings like this, I almost get the creepy feeling that they will all walk through that window. Terribly sorry for my delay, Mr. Nuttall. Forgive me, my apologies. I hope Vera has been amusing you. I do hope you don't mind the open window. My husband and brothers always come in that way after their snipe in the marshes. They will surely make a fine mess over my poor carpets. Do you shoot, Mr. Nuttall?
No, Miss Appleton. Even if I had wanted to, the doctors agree on complete rest and relaxation.
Well, One less hunter in the world, eh? I can't remember the number of deer and birds killed in the area. I read it in a local paper recently, some staggering number. I wonder if the poor species will survive.
Yeah, it's terrible news indeed. I see your lawn is so rich and green, due to an abundant rainy season, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, lots of rain. Well, yeah, lots of rain can be a bad thing, too.
Three years ago to a day. It had been a dreadful wet summer. Their bodies were never recovered.
The doctors agree on complete rest, no violent exercise. On the matter of diet, they're not so much in agreement.
No? Dear. Here they are at last, in time for tea. Muddy up to the eyes.
Here we are, dear. Muddy. Who was that that called to them as we come up? An unwanted guest?
A most extraordinary visitor, Mr. Nuttall. Could only talk about his illnesses and then dashed off without a word as soon as you'd arrived, as if he'd seen a ghost.
Funny, he darted out like a live pheasant.
It was the spaniel. He told me that dogs scare the wits out of him. He pretended to entertain me with a most horrific story that he was once chased into a cemetery on the banks of the Ganges by a pack of pariah dogs. Enough to make anyone lose their nerve.